All right, so you've been out on your adventurous hikes and you've been out in the wilderness and you came across this brain looking mushroom that you have or haven't found before, the elusive morel mushroom. So you've picked your morel mushroom and you've brought it home. Now what do you do with it? Well, we're going to show you some preparation and recipes on what to do with your morels once you found them in the woods and you've gotten them home. Make sure you hit the like button and smash that subscribe button. All right, the first thing you want to do is get a Tupperware dish and put just a little bit of cold water and some iodized salt. That's what we do. And then slice your mushrooms and stick them down in there. If there's little bugs or something in there, they'll come out as they're soaking. Now, don't throw away your water. We dump this water out and somewhere preferably on a northbound side of your property, and it's not guaranteed that mushrooms will grow, but we have found mushrooms where we have dumped our old mushroom soaking water. Now if you stick around to the end, I'll give you a few more tips on foraging for mushrooms as well. Now once you get your morels out of your water, just put them on some paper towel and make sure you dry both the bottom and the top, and you can kind of tap that paper towel down in there. And then spread out just some regular all-purpose flour and sprinkle, we like to use Lawry's seasoned salt, but just season your flour to taste. Lick your finger, taste it. If it tastes good to you, it's going to taste good on the mushroom. All right, so there we got our flour bed, and we're ready to put our mushrooms we just dried off into the flour first, then into the wet mixture, which is just 2 tablespoons of milk and an egg, and then back into the dry mixture. Dry, wet, dry. You can use cornstarch here, but I just flour it twice, and it works good, and it gives it a little bit of extra seasoning. So here you see us just flouring it for the first time. You can see what it looks like, and then you want to go, whoop, stop right there. If you want to freeze these, this is where you want to stop and freeze these morel mushrooms. Just put them on a cookie sheet, freeze them individually, throw them in a Ziploc bag, and these will store for quite a while in your freezer. Now, if you're not going to freeze them, this is when you want to put them in your wet batter, your milk and eggs. And I said 3 tablespoons of milk and 1 egg is what we have here. And just get them all soaked in there. And we're going to put a few of them in, and then we'll go back to the dry, but I'm going to set it over here. But you want to kind of pull what you haven't put in there yet off to the side. We're going to fry these just in plain butter, so you want to start heating that up. So pull your wet ones off to the side so you can put your dry ones on the dry flour. That way you're not getting all your flour kind of clogged up and messy. All right, now just take your time with this, guys. This is, if you take your time and just walk through these steps, you're not going to mess this up, and you're going to enjoy these very, very much. So I have done some of this hurriedly, and I have messed these up before. Not messed them up, but they weren't as good as they could be. So just take your time and do it right, and they come out amazing. You'll see at the end. And you can store them after you fry these, which we have done. But if you want to freeze them for a long time, you definitely want to freeze it during that first step. After you fry them, you can keep these around for about a week in your fridge and use them on different things. You can chop them up, and you don't have to bread them. You can fry these up just with the morel. You can lightly bread them. You can make these however you want. We've eaten them a lot of different ways, and we definitely like them in things. And we're going to show you some of the recipes we do. Not all in this video, so stick around. We'll show you some more videos later. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. But today we're going to show you how to basically just fry them up, and then how another process that we really like them with and on. And that's coming up next, because we got this pizza left over from Beer Barrel Pizza. Now, we went to Beer Barrel Pizza for Mother's Day, and this is at Jefferson Point in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm sure they're all around, but kind of reminded me of Cracker Barrel meets, what what would you say?
You said Buffalo Wild Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings and Cracker Barrel. But it was an open atmosphere. They had the old decor all over the walls. And the menu was really the highlight of this place. Although the atmosphere is really pleasant. And the pizza, we did get a deep dish pizza, and you can see by the looks of it, it didn't look completely deep dish, but I'm telling you, this pizza was heavy. I bet it weighed 5 to 6 pounds. And I usually bought 4 pieces of pizza, and I could only eat about 1.5. And we did bring it home. It didn't look like that, but it was a very thick pizza, and it is sourdough crust. So, yeah, it was delicious. And we brought a lot of it home. They also have the pub style pretzels. And what was interesting about these was this horseradish mustard, and it was strong horseradish too. Corbin got a whiskey barbecue blue cheese burger, and he really enjoyed the blue cheese barbecue burger. Here's the pizza. Doesn't it look delicious? Now, it doesn't look like that deep dish on the menu, but it definitely is a lot thicker than you think it is. And like I said, it was a very heavy pizza. So what we brought home, we added some of the morel mushrooms to that later, and I'll show you that at the after we get some of these fried up. So once your butter is to a medium heat, make sure you're not burning your butter. Put your battered morels, or if you decide not to batter them, just put your morels into your medium-high heat and just kind of cook them until they're light brown. You don't have to cook these, black or well done or anything. You can eat them raw, but I recommend cooking them in some way. The usual way people cook them is in butter. So that's what we've always pretty much done, unless we cook them in something. So here we are putting them into the butter, and you just want to get them to a light brown and then flip them over. I bet this took maybe a minute and a half. Don't turn your heat up. Don't burn. Some of that flour is going to get down into the butter, and you don't want that turning brown. It's going to make everything taste burnt. So just cook it slow and steady, and it's going to turn out amazing. Nice and crispy on the outside, and that delicious morel flavor on the inside.
Mm. Mm. So good.
Cheers. Mm. Mm. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Now it's time for extra tips and tricks. Alright, so some quick tips. The fruiting part of the morel mushroom that we find in the woods is actually the reproductive organ of a mycelium that's underneath the soil, and when it decides it needs to reproduce, it sends up that morel mushroom that we find, and it's supposed to send out the spores to regerminate the morel mushrooms. Hence the mesh bags that you can buy at Amazon, or we just like to use an old onion bag or potato sack, it works just as well, but as you're walking through the woods, you're releasing the spores after you picked them. Now, one thing you do when you pick them, sometimes you see this dirt and stuff that some people pulled the morel right out of the ground. I like to pinch them off and leave that bottom half underneath, even if I cover them up to hide them. This is a false morel. If you find these, some people said that they've eaten them. I'd say do not eat them. But the black morels, the half false morels, and the white morels are all good. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Get out there and keep foraging and finding the art and everything. We want to thank the Vineyard Chicks, Mary Ranch, and the Timbrook family for being long-term Patreon supporters. Their links are in our description. Hello and welcome to the Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorilla. I am the gorilla that is vanilla. This is the Gypsy. She is my queen. We wake up every day and try to find the art in everything. We take that art, we put it in a hot soup bowl, and we serve it up to you for the merriment of your soul.